Well, hello there. Tonight I'm going to be discussing a little bit on radiator plumbing and such. Now you notice I've already cut the fan hub pulley thing off, or not the pulley, but the fan, whatchamacallit, off of that water pump pulley. I did that on my Dakota too, and it works okay like that. Actually, it makes plenty of room now, and so well, not a whole lot of room, but enough room that I can get in there and I can put a little electric pusher fan in the front of there. Yeah. Thusly, because there's a ton of room in front of it. I don't think I'm going to need an intercooler yet, but even with the pusher fan, there'll still be room in front. This thing's like way massively open, empty in the front because the bumper disintegrated, went to bumper hell. Alright, so the first problem I'm seeing here, besides the fact that this here hose is inch and something or other, and the bottom hose is inch and something or other slightly larger. The top hose is 1.5 inches, the bottom hose is 1 3/4 inches. And both of the inlet and the outlet on this here hickamajig are 1 1/4 inches. So I've got adapters. I've got one here. I've got one down here that fell through again. In here. Now the other thing is, this here. This goes from 1.5 inches, which is the other side of this cheapy adapter that's aluminum, to 1 3/4 inches, which goes up into the water pump right down there. Now, problem is, this thing is set up to go over here, not over there. And as is the bottom one opposite. So what I'm going to do, probably, is go down underneath there, under the crank pulley, I think, and just run a metal pipe across, because there's plenty of shielding from the road and stuff. And then up behind the steering pump, if I have room. I hope I do. Pretty much, yeah. Sorta. We got enough room to get in there anyways. Then into the radiator. So I'm going to run the main part of the tubing is going to be 1 1/4 inches. The only big stuff is going to be right next to the motor. And this here is going to be an issue. So I got to figure out, I got enough room that I probably should have worked this out a little better before I hooked it up. But I can cut this thermostat housing is long because it's a van thermostat housing. So I can cut it way down, hook it up down here, put a bend in it like right there, come out here, come out that way, and then go straight 90 into that. I'm thinking that's probably going to be metal pipe too, and then just rubber pieces on the ends of it. Probably want to carry a spare just in case. If the motor mounts ever bust, it's going to shred right through that, I think. Well, we'll find out. Oops, left my OBD2 connector in here. I got to wire this up the rest of the way so I can see what the computer thinks it's wrong with it, if anything. We're going to be doing full emissions compliance on this thing, so it's going to have the computer actually hooked up and doing the factory computer that's sitting back there in that pile of crap I still got to clean up. The factory computer and factory fuse box and factory everything, sensors and all that, communistic converter and all. You basically drive up and plug it in, it'll say emissions readiness is good, and it'll not be cheating either. So the thing here is I want to put, I'm thinking if I adapt into 1 1/4 inches up here, cut it down a little way so I get into it a little farther down, go up a little bit over here, across here 1 1/4 inches, and then I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but I got to make a 90-degree without bumping into this belt, and go into this. I don't think I can do reverse flow on this. I mean, I don't think it would be advisable to put the outlet on the bottom and the inlet on the top, or whatever the arrangement is. Well, maybe I could. Normally they run a, that would be a huge problem. I can't do that because then all the hot water would just go right back into the engine, and this radiator may or may not be big enough as it is. Now I'm not going to be hooking up the transmission cooler on this thing. Well, technically it would operate as a transmission heater too. Neither one. I've got an auxiliary cooler I'm hooking up with. It's got its own little fan that's going to be underneath the car. How long that'll last, I don't know with that fan under there, but whatever. I mean, I'll have a temperature gauge on it, so it'll tell me if it's screwball. Yeah, I should have mounted this engine just slightly farther back. It went forward far. Like, well, I need it farther forward, so I put it forward, 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 then way forward. And now I'm wishing I kind of would have had it a little farther back. But whatever. It fits. It'll sit there. It works. It will drive the car, and I'm happy with where it's at now. But it does present a slight challenge for radiator stuff. Oh, duh. Why didn't I think of that before? What if I just put the radiator in backwards and ran all the plumbing in front of it? I wonder if it would fit. Nah, these things are offset. That's not going to go. There's a lot of screwing that they have to be doing to get that to fit. Yeah, we'll leave it alone. We'll just do it the other way. Alright, so yeah, this adapter is probably going to go low on here, right next to the water neck on the by the thermostat. That's going to get changed too. I'll put a brand new one on just because. And the bottom one will go from over here, sort of downish, along that frame member down there, and sort of across-ish, and then sort of up-ish, right next to that power steering pump. So it makes it a huge pain in the ass if I ever have to work on it. That'll be great. Yeah, hey, what the hell? That's what the manufacturers do. I'll do it too. Haha. Right on. How you make the big bucks. There should be, though. I figure probably maybe tomorrow or Friday I may even be able to have this radiator hitched up, probably this weekend. And I want to finish bolting the body down, because that's still kind of loose. I don't want the body falling off of the damn frame while I'm driving around the parking lot. And I got a rudimentary fuel system ready to go. I got not ready yet, but I've got 5/16 copper nickel, actual copper nickel, not the crappy stuff that they lied about, to go all the way to the back of the car where the old fuel tank was. I'm thinking about using that. I got a booster pump here I can use. I got this here hickamajig. This may end up being a temporary tank until I get the main fuel tank put in. And just kind of figure we'll go under here that you can't see because the lights are out. I don't know where I'm going to put the tank in. I might just use that surge tank just to drive it around the lot a little bit. But then I'm just going to put the regulator right on the tank, right next to the booster, the booster pump, so that in case you ever need to know, the fuel goes in here and it goes out the one that's attached to the round hickey. And then usually it comes out into the fuel rail where this gauge is, but there's a gauge on here instead, so it doesn't. There's no other plugs on there. Yeah, whatever. I like having my gauge there, so I'll just leave it there. Put that brass T over there into it. Should go up to the front. So this here is the return, and that there is the pressure line. And also you tee this off to go into the fuel rail. There you have it. And there's the fuel rail feed right there. So I can get right into that. And I've got God knows how much copper nickel, but it's a bunch. Not as much as I used to have. But here's my 5/16 copper nickel stuff. I got enough of a roll that I can run 2 lines back if I need to. Figuring probably only one. It's probably only going to be 10, 12 feet maybe. There's my Lone Wolf 9000 Plus. You can't see it because it's dark. I'm charging this battery. It's been cranking with it a little bit and it got a little bit slow. I got my Harbor Freight battery maintainer. Blinkety blinkety. And of course, check this out. So my buddy got sprayed by this power steering pump the first time we ever ran it. Whoops. So I just routed the pressure hose back into the reservoir. I got to put a filter and a cooler on that eventually, but that's not until later. I ain't gonna be wheeling the thing right now. So the deal I did with this was the groundhog chewed through my damn wires. So I put a couple of them solder seal connectors on her. It works. Yeah. So there you have the update. Hopefully we'll Oh yeah, so this here wire, that wire, is the only thing that tells the computer to turn off and on in this model. So everything else, I just hook the old van main battery connector into power, run power plus 12 volts into that one line, that one wire, and it tells it to turn on and run. Anytime the engine rotates with that wire connected, it knows that the key is on, so it starts making spark and firing injectors. So I'm going to say this bad E word, and it's not going to screw me. I'm going to say that was the only easy part of this job. Okay, I said it. I claim exemption because it was actually easy. I'm going to stop saying it now because it'll screw me if I don't. Alright, more fun stuff here. I got to figure out, this is slightly different size, so I got to either file this open or file this down to fit. Then I need to chop this little doohickey off of here, and I got some actual well, not exactly right, but I got the little doohickeys to stick on the end of here, and then I just put a clip around it. Away she goes. So that'll be that. And pretty much, probably this weekend, I'll be driving her around the parking lot. If I get the lights working, maybe down the road a little bit. I got to totally rewire the turn signals though, because oh, here's another problem I've got. Yeah, here's another problem. Here's another problem. Here's another problem. I keep saying that like it's fun. Now you can't see it because it's dark out, but well, yeah, you sort of see it. This cluster of wires here used to be on a connector. I had to take it off in a hurry because shut. There we go. I had to take the connector off in a hurry because I was stuck out in the middle of nowhere and I didn't have no headlights. So just to get it running, I took that connector off of there, and I lost it, of course. And of course now it's hard to find those dashes. The things are so damn unreliable, and the solder joints in them are bad and everything else. I'm just going to build a whole new dash control system for that. I'm going to have arcade game buttons like left and right. I've already got the buttons in the shop. Like a left arrow and a right arrow you push, and the arrow that you pushed blinks and until you either push it again to cancel it, or the steering wheel has got a turn signal cancellation cam in it that's electrical, and there was a solenoid on the lever that stuck out of the dash for the turn signal. So I figure that that cancellation switch on the steering wheel should also be able to fire or be able to unfire a relay. So unlatch a relay and shut both turn signals off. That'll be it for that. The headlights are going to be interesting. I think maybe I'll just either leave them permanently cranked up or down until I fix the body control module. It's junk that came with these things. Thank you, Huntsville Electronics. Chrysler Huntsville, but you want it not to work all the time. It's Chrysler Huntsville Electronics. Now with 90% more walking home. Hey, at least it's exercise. Yeah, that's about it for that. This is kind of interesting. These guys who tore apart this old van that this wiring was in, they were like meticulous. They only cut one wire or two wires. They even left the dang, well, no, that's a relay socket, but they left the brake light switch in. Oh, you know what? I've got the cruise control parts off of the car and some other cruise control parts off of another V6 I took apart. I wonder if I could put cruise control on, because it doesn't have to know how fast it's going. All it has to know is that how fast it thinks it's going, and just stay that speed. Huh. Because this is probably not going to know exactly how fast it's going, because it's a 373 rear end, and I think that the vans mostly came with the 355s and 98, something like that. But it's not that bad of a deal. I mean, the vehicle speed sensor is going to work on this too, at least I'm hoping. It doesn't have, the van that it came from, I don't think it had anti-lock because it's not trying to look for anti-lock. And there's no wiring that goes to anti-lock, so I don't think it had that. It was a 2500. 25 or 3500. Assuming the 3500s came with a V6, I think that was the base model. But it was a Yoder toter, so it was enormous. I'll have to look and see. I'll have to pull the VIN off the computer and find out, because I don't think, I looked at this van over here, this 96, and I don't think it's got anti-lock either. And if it does, it's only got it on the rear. And this doesn't seem to have the same connector for it that does. It doesn't have the color of wire that it's supposed to have for that. I don't know. I don't care. But I know that on the Dakota, on the 96 Dakota, the anti-lock, or the cruise control works even when the anti-locks don't. Because that hasn't had anti-locks for God knows how long either. It was only rear anti-lock anyway. I don't care. I don't like anti-locks. So I'm pretty sure if this computer supports cruise control, that I can wire it up. That would be pretty neat, because that is kind of nice to have. And the car has cruise controls on the steering wheel if I can ever make them to work. If I can't, I can rig them up so that they will work somehow, bypassing them. You know, more arcade buttons on the dashboard. But that's about it for that. Well, that's enough of a rambling on. I'm just kind of getting into the rambling now. So I shall see you later.